What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I am your host, Dr. Kojo, and we're having trouble streaming to TikTok. Uh, we're streaming live on a couple of platforms today, talking about three key things to do in your manic. We're live on Facebook, we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on YouTube, both my YouTube pages, the Late Night with Dr. Kojo page, and also the Kojo Software page. We're live on Twitch. We're not live on X, and we will be live on TikTok as soon as I figure out how to update the thingy. Y'all know the thingy. But we're going to be talking about three key things to do in your manic. As a mania safety plan. So we'll talk about that. But before we talk about that, go ahead and use the comment section to let me know what your name is, where you're checking in from, and let's get this thing popping. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get the stream, all that stuff, stream key, stream URL, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get all that stuff right so we can stream on TikTok as well. Yep. So we should be streaming on Facebook. The key, stream URL. This is how things work when you're on StreamYard. All right. Of course, this is my blurb. If you're new here, my name is Kojo, and I post about mental health, comedy, and education. Feel free to stick around, which is just a nice way of saying, please stick around, because I want you to stick around. Let me see. All right, the key in the URL. Let's see if we can edit this thing out here. Christy and Cheddar from Texas. So happy to catch you live. Christy, I'm so happy that you are here. I'm happy that you're the first one. Hopefully you can learn something today, and hopefully you have a good time. The goal is to have a good time, a great time. Come on, TikTok, you gotta let me. I'll just open up another custom thingy. I probably put the URL in the wrong place, in the stream key in the wrong place. Knowing myself. TikTok. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. Boom. Christy, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. The support of this community has carried me for 5 years. So I'm very grateful for you all's attention. Mr. Larry, I appreciate you. Mr. Larry, where are you checking in from today? All right, and on TikTok, I put the stream key in, so I don't know why we're not able to get in. All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to utilize some teamwork here. We're going to just start another live stream on TikTok. Let's start another one. Joliet, Illinois. Did I say it correctly? Joliet, Illinois. Okay. Well, I'm happy that you're tuning in from Joliet, Illinois, Mr. Horton. Thank you for your attention. Okay, Chicago in the house. So it looks like this live stream is being broadcasted to the whole state of Illinois. I appreciate your attention. All right, so I'm gonna put the URL here in the key. And TikTok, don't ever say I didn't ever do anything for you, because I'm trying my best to get this stream to y'all as well. Because not everybody has Facebook. Not everybody got Facebook, but I would like for people to get Facebook. All right. If there's any StreamYard experts in here, holla at your boy. All right. All right. So the URL, and some of y'all like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm just waiting for him to talk about the mania safety tips. So actually, while I'm getting the URL together, let's talk about what mania is. So that way I give you all some value. Mania is the distinguishing feature of bipolar disorder. So that means that if you don't have mania, you don't have bipolar disorder. Like y'all don't have to be armchair psychiatrists to know how to diagnose yourself. But I try to break things down and make it easy for you. So if you don't have mania, you don't have bipolar disorder. You just don't. You just don't. Um, I've hit the limit on places I can stream to. StreamYard, y'all suck. I'm gonna remove this one so we can add one more. All right. So yeah, it's a distinguishing feature of bipolar disorder. There's a couple different forms of bipolar. There's two main ones: bipolar 1 and then bipolar 2. If you have a manic episode, a full-blown manic episode, you meet the criteria for bipolar 1. You don't have to have a depressive episode to be diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder. But for bipolar 2, you have to have a depressive episode. It's a little confusing, but just know that if you have a depressive episode and you have a hypomanic episode, then that is a criteria for bipolar 2. In bipolar 1, you can also have depressive episodes, but you've got to have the manic episode. That's the key thing. That's the key thing right there. All right, I think we are on TikTok. We'll see. Oh, finally we did it, y'all. We finally made it on TikTok. TikTok, y'all made it hard for me, or maybe I made it hard on myself. But either way, if you just joined on TikTok, welcome to the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I'm your host, Kojo Sarfo, streaming from sunny Los Angeles, California. It's still a pretty sunny day outside. I was walking outside today and I was like, thank you, Jesus, for the sunshine, and thank you for thank you for the sun and for the light. It does a big, uplifting to my mood. So I'm very grateful for it. And for those of y'all who just joined on TikTok, we are streaming live to the state of Illinois primarily. Carbondale in the house. Catherine, happy to see you. Martha from Chicago. Larry from Joliet, Illinois. So we're primarily streaming to Illinois and also folks from Texas and Fran Jernera. What a name. Fran Jernera. I've never heard that name before. That's hella dope. Fran Jernera Myers from DC. I like that. I like that. All right, so we talked a little bit about mania, and the diagnostic criteria a little bit is oversimplification, but here are 3 key things to do when you're manic. 3 key things, and these are not things that you have to do. It's not medical advice. These are things that would be helpful to do when you're manic. All right. So without further ado, the first one right here. This one is an interesting one, but I stand by this one. I really do. I stand by this one. The first thing to do when you're manic is to delete the dating apps. Now, if you're married or if you're not in the game anymore or whatever, obviously this doesn't apply to you. Or I don't know. Maybe you might be in the dating apps, but the first thing to do is to delete the dating apps. Get rid of them. And Christopher says, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am. I'm for everybody, but I definitely got my people. I gotta have my Zoe, stop. Zoe, stop. Zoe, come here. Sit. Zoe, come here. Zoe, come. I teach y'all about mental health, but I need to learn how to train an Australian Shepherd because I'm not good with that. So, Christopher, if you have any tips on how to train dogs, I'll let your boy. I could use some help. But number 1, when you're manic, you want to delete the dating apps because when you're manic, you're probably not sleeping, right? And your judgment is not at its best. So if we have questionable decision making and you have, our phones, these things are very powerful. At our disposal, we can reach hundreds and thousands and millions of people. So When you're manic, this is when you are probably your most confident. You feel the most, amazing. You feel sexy. You feel vibrant. You feel awesome. And this is when you start to shoot your shot. Keep in mind, when you shoot your shot, people don't realize that if you shoot enough shots, you're gonna make a couple, right? Steph Curry shoots a lot of threes. Now Steph Curry is good, so like he makes a lot of his threes. But even the average, bottom tier NBA player who shoots a lot of shots, a couple are gonna go in. A couple are gonna go in. So if you're manic, when it comes to dating and sex and impulsivity, like you're shooting a lot of shots because you feel great. You feel great. You're shooting a lot of shots. A couple might go in. The only issue is that might not be what you actually wanted to do, right? You may not have actually wanted to, have hooked up with all those people. Not if you wanted to, all right, cool. But the difference with mania is because these decisions aren't premeditated. You're probably doing things that you're like, wasn't my best moment, wasn't my best hour, wasn't my best week. I like to have that back and this back. It can lead to a lot of guilt and shame and remorse. So, dating apps are how people start relationships nowadays. Over half of relationships that are started are done, through dating apps. And I mean, I just said dating apps because that's a quick way for people to get up with people and hook up with it or whatever. But you can make the same case for Instagram too. Um, Not that you should delete Instagram, but just be careful with your dating apps when you are manic. That's the key. Annette says, if I have not been diagnosed, how do I know I am manic? I feel impulsive all the time. So Annette, with mania, it's not more so it's not like feeling impulsive all the time. It's when your mood is a bit elevated. It doesn't have to be elevated, but your mood can be elevated and a bit more irritable. And your decision making is a bit off. You're not sleeping, more than likely. You're not sleeping. You're going days without sleep. And you feel like you don't need to sleep. You feel like you don't miss it. You feel energized after 2.5 hours of sleep. And like you're able to go and go and go and go and go. I know that kind of stops you is either a crash, a depressive crash, which will take that, or some painful consequence. And a lot of times, mania, it's quite severe. It would lead to hospitalization many times. How do I get to a psych ward? You can check yourself in the Tank Man, or you could be involuntarily committed. That's when there's danger to yourself or others, or significant property destruction. All right, let me look at some comments on TikTok. I on TikTok says, I'm late to the conversation. How can we decipher manic or impulsive control, ADHD versus bipolar 1 or 2? So you probably missed it earlier in the live stream, but with ADHD, there's no mania. You can have mood fluctuations with ADHD, and you can have insomnia. So you could be a little bit behind on sleep. But with bipolar disorder, mania is the distinguishing feature. Mania or hypomania, but you would have these periods. Mania and bipolar 1 lasts for at least a week. So it's 7 days where like your sleep is impaired, decision making is questionable. You're talking faster than usual. Your grandiose could be psychotic. And the only other time that you get diagnosed with bipolar 1 and it hasn't been a week is when you land in the psych hospital. And that's done so that way it can protect you before things get out of hand. No problem, I. And Zealous Rose says, I usually feel all of these except the sleep part. Well, normally when your manic, sleep is affected, but not always. But sleep is one of the first key things to let people know that, okay, I might be manic right now. Sam, thank you for your support. Sam on TikTok. Sam Samantha, I appreciate you. By hearing and hearing by, how are you doing? How are you? How are you? And the second thing, this is a good one right here. Make you ficky. Sometimes when I make these lists, depending on what I write down, when it's time to type it in, I'm like, ooh, that was a good one. That was a good one. The second thing to do is Ask a trusted friend to hold credit debit cards. Now, in order to do this, you have to have a trusted friend. I understand that. So that's the part where it's like we gotta have somebody we trust. And Dream Team on TikTok says I have schizoaffective disorder, and I get all of that. Yeah, schizoaffective disorder is very close to bipolar disorder, and very close to schizophrenia as well. So yeah, you can be manic with schizoaffective disorder for sure, for sure. Ask a trusted friend to hold credit debit cards, and this is because you want to save yourself from you. You want to put barriers to prevent overspending, right? Because when you're manic, you're kind of going off of how you feel, and you're not going based off your budget, right? So like when we're budgeting, we're like, okay, I have money for this. I'm gonna wait to get that. Oh, I can go ahead and get this. Cool. Like you got a plan. With mania, there's no real plan. It's more so, oh, I feel like this. Let's go to Hawaii tomorrow. Whereas if you planned it out, you say, oh, buying a last second ticket to Hawaii is going to be 4 times more expensive. I can just go to Hawaii next weekend or next month. I can plan for it. But when you're manic, it's like, oh, I feel, so I do. So if you ask, a trusted friend to hold your credit or debit cards, it can help to um, keep you safe, keep you financially safe. And when I when I made this list and I wrote this down, then I was like, okay, some people have Apple Pay and stuff like that, or you have your cards on your. I got my cards on my phone, so I'm like, maybe asking somebody to hold your cards doesn't do much, but you get the point. Delete the cards from Apple Pay. Take it off your phone. Um, don't. It's hard to give up your phone, so don't give up your phone. But if you have to, feel free to do so. The key is you want to put yourself in a position to win. And one of the biggest ways to win is by not losing. I felt that personally this year. I've had so many victories this year just because I didn't lose. It's pretty much just getting out of your own way, because self-sabotage hurts. It really hurts. And Tyrone Stagg says, what about hypomania? What's typical with it? So, no, Thailand, I said Tyrone, my bad. Thailand on TikTok says hypomania. All right, so with hypomania, it's like mania, but it's like a baby version. So if mania is up here, right? If mania is up here, mania is like, hypomania is like down here, right? So you're still impulsive. You're still not exercising your best judgment. You still could be hypersexual, but bipolar 2 is hard to catch because these things don't land you in the hospital. Like with bipolar 1, mania is like dangerous, sometimes life-threatening, depending on what you're doing. If you're driving your car 80 miles per hour in a 55, speed limit, that's dangerous, right? So with hypomania, we might not be doing that, but the driving is a bit more risky. It might be some drinking and driving, might be some unprotected sex that you didn't plan for. You might have like a little spending spree here and there, but the hypomania is really hard to catch because it doesn't land you in the psych hospital. I think bipolar 2 is the hardest condition to diagnose. I really do. Emily, how are you? It's good to see you. How have you been? Jesse, I'm good. I feel good today. The sun is out. I'm just feeling grateful to be in California. I remember living in Virginia. I love Virginia, but in the fall it would get dark at like 4 p.m. and like my mood would go like this, and then I'd be looking to like get a drink or something. I'm like, I don't like how I feel. To put your Maxine, I like this one. This is almost better than what I suggested. Putting your cards in ice in the deep freezer. I like that. I like that. But of course, maybe have a trusted friend come over, go to the ATM, get like the bare, get some cash, just emergency cash, and then freeze your card. And this is going to sound crazy to somebody who doesn't get it, but forget them, because we got to do what we got to do to take care of ourselves. I spent too much money on Manic. I bought $40 in yarn and $30 in hair dye the other day. Ooh. Hmm. Hmm. Can the yarn? How long can the yarn last for? Because I think, like for Emily, for me, my thing is like my first thought is, okay, can we take it back and get our money back? But depending on where you bought it from and their return policy, sometimes they're like, oh, we're gonna give you store credit. I'm like, I don't want store credit. Give me my money back. But if they won't let you get your money back, um, maybe you can hold on to the yarn, for when you need it next. The hair dye, maybe the same, but you may not want to dye your hair that same color, But understand that you overspent, and realizing that is key, because once you know that you overspent, you're like, all right, okay, I overspent. I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna just stop. I'm gonna stop and address this. Oh, literally and physically. Maxine, you should be teaching this. That's a great plan, because you can freeze your card, like actually at the bank, and then you can freeze your card. I like that. That's brilliant. Freeze your card. That's brilliant. That deserves the love of this show. Congratulations. By hearing and hearing by, I'm good. I'm running errands in the crisp air by myself before the sun sets. Ooh. Like right before the sun sets, it looks so nice. Like right now, the sun is, what time is it here in California? 4:05. It'll probably set within the next hour or so. But I always tell myself that I want to go to Venice Beach and then just watch the sunset. I need to do that this month, because I keep saying let me stop talking and just do it. Banking apps. Yeah. Maxine, great idea. I spent almost 500 on car parts. It's tough, because like when you're buying these things, you really feel like you need it, or like you feel like, oh, I'm like, I know what I'm doing this for. I like, it feels like a need, and it's not until after the fact you're like, hold up, I didn't need any of this stuff. What was I doing? Maxine, so there could be some correlation with these behaviors with ADHD and autism, because with both ADHD and autism, there's that emotional dysregulation, so it's hard to manage your mood. But the difference is with mania, the mood fluctuation and the irritability and the symptoms are a bit more marked, is a bit more prominent, and it's for a sustained period of time. Like this is like a week straight, and some people have manic episodes that last multiple weeks. Sometimes people have a manic or hypomanic episode that lasts for some months as well. Sometimes people have rapid cycling bipolar disorder, where you have multiple episodes in a year, at least like 4. So like, I know I've been posting the bipolar videos, but I got some more education for y'all. I got the rapid cycling videos coming, mixed episodes. So bipolar disorder gets kind of complicated when you get into the weeds, but at the basic level, everybody can understand it. I believe bipolar 1, BPD, and ADHD is quite a mix. It is quite a mix, and anybody who sees that will be like, "Damn, she got bipolar, BPD, ADHD," but you're in a much better position than the person who has those 3 who doesn't know what they have, because then you're gonna be like, "Why do I keep doing this?" But you know what you're up against and how these conditions affect you. It puts you in a position to succeed. And yeah, Jesse, when you buy these things, you really feel like you need them. I had a rule with my sister when I first got my first big boy job. This was 2013, working as a registered nurse in Macon, Georgia. I went from having no money at all. Like I was begging my dad for $5. I'm like, Dad, can I get $5 so I can get some food at Hardee's? Because I was a college student, and I was making like $20 an hour, And I'm like, man, I'm making $20 an hour. I'm making 20. Like I thought that if people found out I was making $20 an hour, that they would kill me. Like we grew up poor, like food stamps, like the whole nine. So I was like, man, if people find out that I'm making $20 an hour, they're gonna kill us. So like I never made money before. So like my sister and I, like we were both RNs, and we would like I would go to the mall and like I would buy like all this polo. Like what one polo shirt would be $90. Like I don't wear $90 shirts today. You know, knife is like a suit or okay, yeah, but like, I don't walk around wearing $90 shirts today. You know, but it got Zoe, stop it, stop it, stop it, Zoe, don't growl. It got to the point where my sister and I came up with a rule. We said, all right, if we're gonna spend more than $100 on anything, let's call each other before we spend that money and see if we really need that thing. I think that's a great rule for anybody, regardless of ADHD, autism, bipolar, whatever. Just having a friend, that you can call. Say, I need to buy this thing for my truck. It's $107. And they could be like, you just bought one of these things like a couple of months ago. Do you really need this? And then you're like, but it's the new version. No, I don't need it. You're right. You're right. You're right. And just like that, you saved $107. You know what's better than spending $107 and getting that thing? Saving $107. You know. Kaylin, I've had the biggest question. Kaylin, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Kaylin, on TikTok. Kaylin says, are you single? Because you can be my husband. Please, I live in Charlotte, but will happily move. Kaylin, you'll move from Charlotte to Los Angeles, California? Okay. Do you know how to train a mini Australian Shepherd? You know? Do you know how to cook? No misogynistic type of, thing. I just don't know how to cook. Like, are you ready for Hollywood? Can untreated ADHD look similar or lead to BPD? So untreated ADHD can look like BPD, but keep in mind BPD is a personality disorder, which is caused by a variety of things, most notably childhood trauma. Importance of adherence medications. Blake, how are you doing? What's up, Blake? Virginia says hello. I miss Virginia. I miss everybody back in Virginia. But the importance of adhering to medications is key. In fact, that's my third thing to do when you're manic. But like stopping medications, I always tell y'all, like, don't ever stop meds that have been prescribed to you by your healthcare provider. I mean, talk to them first, but like you never want to stop. But like I see why people stop, because like you take it for a while and then you feel great. And then you tell yourself, okay, well, I don't think I need this medication anymore. But then when you stop, you figure out why you need to be on the meds in the first place. So not to say you have to be on meds for forever, but make sure you check in with your provider before you quit the meds. Just to keep you safe, to keep you at the hospital. No one wants to go to the hospital, but I mean, if you have to go to the hospital's there, but we don't want to go to the hospital. Let me see. Oh, you already made gifts with the yarn. Okay, all right. Well, dang it. Sitting around future planning. I think I have autism on rapper cycle mixed episodes. And I know quite a few people who have autism, ADHD, and bipolar disorder. So sometimes people think that it's like one or the other. And you could have all three, or you can have more than one mental health condition. I kept reaching out to my mechanic, who finally told me that I did not need the car parts after all. What a relief. See, Jesse, that phone call to be like, hey, do I really need this? And sometimes we don't want to make that phone call because the other person might tell us, no, you don't need it. And we really want the thing. So like we just try and bypass asking somebody so that we can do what we want to do. Because a lot of times when we ask for advice, we're not looking for advice. We just want somebody to agree with us and validate our decisions. Kaylin is a girl mate. All right, Kaylin. And this all right, Buttercup. That's funny. Ella, how are you doing? What do you think? Say, what do you mean under control? What do you mean? South Africa. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Could mania be connected to fear? Angela, potentially. Mania is not really caused by fear, but when you're manic, there's a component of fear that could be there from anxiety. There's fear that could be there. My heart out. What time is it right now? 4:14. 4:14. How far is it to that place in Culver? Yeah, I know I'm cutting it close to time, but um, almost done. But to answer this, fear could be connected to psychosis, and sometimes within mania you can have psychosis. With hypomania, you never have psychosis because if you had psychosis, then it's mania, it's bipolar 1. But with hypomania, you 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Man, okay, all right. Thanks, thank you. I'll get to the last symptom. Oh, it's time for the water break. Somebody drop the magic word, and then after that, I'll drop the last key thing to do when you're manic. The ADHD bipolar is a roller coaster. Feel happy for a couple of days and feel so sad. Only thing that makes me feel better is buying stuff. Then you get can't afford to pay bills. And Rachel, it's important when you're in this situation to forgive yourself, so you can get past the guilt and the shame. And because you're gonna feel helpless when you're in this cycle of self-sabotage. And when you feel better, eventually you'll learn to train yourself not to buy things, but you'll use that momentum when you feel better to create a system that will help you get better. Does that make sense? So once we feel better, all right, okay, we feel better, we can win by not losing. So we feel better, we just avoid making the purchases. And when you don't make a purchase, it's like you saved yourself $200. So that would be the win. And then we use that momentum to put some steps in place to get better. Catherine, how are you doing? From Tennessee. What's up? The magic word is cheers. I'm running short on time, so we'll just go ahead and do the water break now. It's already at the 30-minute mark, but cheers is the magic word. I don't think anybody knew that today. But big cheers. We got to get some water in. You know, when you're neurodivergent, you might forget to drink some water. So big cheers, y'all. The feel better, be better system. And the feel better, be better system is key. It's key because sometimes when you feel better, you think that you've gotten better, but you haven't gotten better. You just feel better. So when you feel better, use that momentum to get better. Then you won't have to rely on feeling better. It's truly revolutionary, Catherine. Big cheers. Anytime, Rachel. You got this. And the third thing to do when you're manic is prioritize sleep and medications. Chris, I'll answer your OCD question right before I get off. So I got you, Mr. Hanley on YouTube. The third thing to do when you're manic is to prioritize sleep medications. So when people come to the psych hospital after being in like a manic tailspin, the first thing that they normally do is they sleep for a very long time. It's really hard to get any information out of somebody who is actively manic. So after they sleep, they come in, we'll give them like some meds, like Zyprexa or something. Then you'll sleep for like a good 2-3 days. And after, you've slept and you're rested, then, your brain is much more calmer. You're able to talk and give your side of the story, what happened, blah, blah, so on and so forth. So when you're manic, you're probably not sleeping. So it's going to be key to prioritize sleep. This can keep you out of the hospital. This can keep you from an inpatient stay. If you want to have your phone with you, if you want to be able to do things, we probably have to avoid the hospital. And we can do that by prioritizing sleep and getting medication. So if you have an outpatient psychiatrist or a PCP, and you can let them know that you're you feel like you're getting manic. And Rachel, when you're getting manic, when you're starting to talk a bit faster, you're starting to not sleep as much and not miss the sleep that you're missing. You don't mind sleeping 2 hours for many days in a row because you still feel great. Your speech is a bit more rapid. Your decision making is questionable, things of that nature. But the sleep is key. The sleep is so key. And sometimes it's very difficult to prioritize sleep without medications. And that's what the antipsychotics do, like a Zyprexa. It helps you get sleep. So short term, those meds are outstanding when it comes to knocking out mania, preventing mania as well, and allowing you to sleep. So prioritize the sleep and medications. Sometimes the way that this has to be done is by going inpatient, even though like that's not ideal for a lot of people. I mean, I don't think it's ideal for anybody. Nobody wakes up and they're like, "All right, I'm going to the psych hospital today." But in situations where it's necessary to keep people safe, then I think it's absolutely the right thing to do. And if you're able to, prioritize sleep medications, outpatient, more power to you. You get to avoid the hospital. A good cry is usually, ah, wow, Catherine. Okay. I guess I don't cry enough. I gotta get more in touch with my emotions and cry a little bit more. Mag on TikTok, thank you so much for your attention. And the person that says I love your page, thank you for the team bracelet. I appreciate you. I don't see your name, but I appreciate you. And my time. Okay, I gotta head to Culver City for this event. So let me answer this last question. Then I gotta get off. I'm always behind on things. I need more time. I need more time in the day. Kojo, we gotta get better. But gotta feel better to get better. And then once we've gotten better, then we are better. And we have to rely on feeling better. I gotta take my own advice. Any tips for OCD to reduce anxiety when not doing compulsive, repetitive behavior like hand washing, a lot of stuff? All right, so Christopher, this is not related to mania. I just want to say that so people don't get confused here. But I will answer your question. So with OCD, you have to understand that you have the obsessions and the compulsions, right? So OCD, the compulsions, right, in this situation is washing your hands. I gotta wash my hands. I gotta wash my hands. I gotta wash my hands, right? Why do you have to wash your hands? You have to wash your hands because you have this obsession that, I keep touching things in like places like I'm going to pick up a germ, and if I get this germ, then I'm going to die or something bad will happen to me. So I got to keep washing my hands to relieve the anxiety, right? But when you wash your hands over and over to relieve the anxiety, it only fixes the anxiety in the current moment, right? So you get temporary relief from anxiety, but after that temporary relief is gone, you have to wash your hands again. So the cycle repeats itself over and over and over and over and over. So the key is to interrupt the cycle. The obsession, you have the obsession, you have the thought that makes you want to wash your hands. We have to interrupt that cycle somewhere, and it's hard to not think about the thing that's making you have the compulsion. So between the obsession and the compulsion, if we can break it in between there, we can make some progress. And a good way to do that is with OCD, we treat it by using medications. A lot of times we use like antidepressants to help with that. SSRIs and therapy. Therapy is extremely powerful when it comes to OCD. Just helping to reframe things so that, okay, you can feel anxious. You can feel like I got to wash my hands a million times. But today, instead of washing my hands 30 times, all right, let's see if we can wash our hands 20 times. Okay, we did it for a week. Can we wash our hands like 15 times for this week? Okay. Can we wash our hands like 10 times? And then you bring down the frequency and use that positive momentum to get better. But when you keep doing the thing that you have to do to relieve the anxiety, like wash your hands, you get stuck in that loop, and you have to keep doing that. So we need to break that, and that's how you're gonna, get that longer lasting relief. So therapy and medications, and also just counting up the small ones, not being too hard on yourself, being your own cheerleader. So you don't have to put on a skirt and a Dallas Cowboys outfit and cheer for yourself. But anytime you make some progress, Clap for yourself. Like give yourself, some credit. Like I believe in counting up all the small wins. All the small wins. Gotta cut up all the small wins. So uh, that's it. And Cora. So I'm not sure, but with mania, there's a component where you're not getting enough sleep. So normally when you feel like hyperactive, it's during the times when people are asleep. 2 3 a.m. we get all this energy to rearrange your furniture and so on and so forth. And all right, so I said that the last two questions are my last, but this will be my last, and then I'll go make sure I don't miss this event. But yes, Stephanie, I have heard of people being manic and referring to themselves as somebody else. So when you're manic, we have this thing called grandiosity. You feel grandiose. You feel like you're extremely important. So when you're like you feel so important, you may refer to yourself in the third person, or somebody else. So like that would be like me saying, "Oh, Dr. Kojo is the number one doctor in the whole world. Dr. Kojo is best friends with the president. Both of them. Dr. Kojo is very good friends with Joe Biden. He's very good friends with Donald Trump. He knows all the people in Washington D.C. He's an international lead. And these things could be true, right? But I mean, I've met Joe Biden before. I haven't met Trump, but like I'm not friend. Like they don't know who I am, But when you're manic, you feel extremely important. You feel like, and you it's a delusion. You believe that, oh yeah, Michael Jordan knows who I am. Michael Jordan's a good friend. I can call Michael Jordan right now. Like Michael Jordan should be coming to my, like you believe these things. You believe these things, and it's your reality. So like we're trained not to really argue with delusions, because somebody who believes that, they really believe that they played basketball with Michael Jordan in North Carolina. They feel grandiose. So they may, refer to themselves as, in the third person, so on and so forth. And TJ says on TikTok, my last episode of Mania, I drove 3 states away for no reason at all. TJ, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And that's a very accurate description of mania. It's like you hop in the car and, you like, this is $5 right here. But let's say I had like $80, right? I hop in the car, no wallet, just hop in the car with $80. I'm going to drive east. I'm going to start off in Los Angeles, and I'm going to drive east until I run out of gas. I might end up in Nevada. I might end up in Utah, but I ain't got no plan. I'm going to just drive. That's what mania looks like. Christopher, I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. That's my time. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I got to get out of here. I got to get to Culver City. And I have 3 minutes to get dressed, but this is my life every day. So I appreciate you all. I love y'all. And I might be streaming on TikTok later tonight, I think. But it depends on what time I get back from the event and I hit the gym and so on and so forth. But, thank you so much for your attention and your time. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. And I will see you all the next time. Peace. Lots of love. Steffi, you're not crazy. You're just human. You are just human. Take care. Love y'all.